stagnant. You're not really leveraging them well. You're not really utilizing it to expand your reach and really be able to attract people to you, right? So your posts aren't really engaging, and it's not really able to get people to know who you are, understand what you do, and how you can provide them with value. And ultimately speaking, that means that you're not top of mind for your ideal client. Timing, quite frankly, is a lot, because if someone doesn't actually need your service right now, they may need it in the future. But how do you stay top of mind when that actually becomes an issue that they have? Or, also, they might not even be solution aware. They may be issue aware or problem aware, but not solution aware. So needing to know that you can actually help them solve that problem. So that's also something really important to being able to be top of mind. And, realistically speaking, you're not getting leads via LinkedIn. I mean, there's over 700 million users. And how are you tapping this, quite frankly, fairly underutilized tool to be able to attract people? And, the direct message, which I'm sure you get and I get, and it's a great tool to be able to generate leads that way. It's also phenomenal to be able to have more inbound type leads. So what we're going to be talking about is how can you expand your reach, use this new feature within LinkedIn and its best form to actually be able to bring new leads to your doorstep, and just understand the feature and what it does and how it helps and all of that. Ultimately, boost your brand awareness and awareness around the services that you offer and how you can help your ideal client. And in the end, to essentially generate more leads. Get a well planned newsletter plan in place, allowing for you to be able to show your expertise, attract people to you, and get your agency growing. So when it comes to creating a newsletter, I mean, quite frankly, it is very, very, very simple. We started it, and actually, full disclosure, I didn't even know that we had started it when it started. It was something that was a new feature that was launched, and my marketing team launched it within that first week to 10 days. And a client actually messaged me, "Hey, Robert, how are you doing this?" And I didn't even know that it was happening yet. And quite an interesting tool. Super cool that it was able to actually touch that many people. And by the time I was even aware, we had about 500 or so subscribers. That was very quick directly to the newsletter, that were getting emails directly from LinkedIn multiple times a week of content that we were actually just repurposing and utilizing on LinkedIn, which we'll talk about a little bit more. So the guide that we sent will go through sort of a little bit more of a step-by-step direction on exactly how to set it up and how to actually functionally create it, which I don't want to get too in-depth in the conversation today, but want to talk more about how you can actually target people, how you can actually utilize, create content to have your ideal client being drawn to you. First thing is you want to pick a good name for it. So one that reflects your brand, one that reflects the problems you solve, and one that's going to really have your ideal clients understand a bit more about who you are and make sure that it fits into keywords and it's something that is searchable, right? I mean, a lot of people more and more are utilizing these types of tools as a search engine and being able to actually look for vendors, look for partners, look for service providers, allowing for them to be able to find. So if you're able to actually put in some keywords of what your ideal client would be looking for, that is even better. And the other thing you want to do is really craft a compelling description. After someone subscribes, they want to understand, what it is that they're going to get, why they want to continue to be subscribed, what is it going to really be able to provide them with benefit. You want to also make them understand the importance of it and the exclusivity of it and how it's actually going to be able to truly benefit them and why they want to join versus any of the other newsletters or any of the other things. Again, fairly new tool, so you're still going to be able to get a ton of benefit on the fact that a lot of people haven't subscribed to newsletters yet and you'll be able to be ahead of the fold. And ultimately speaking, you want to set the description to be able to set expectations for what it is that they should be anticipating in terms of the content that you're going to be putting out. So make sure that they have a very clear understanding of what it is that they're opting in for and why they're going to want to continue to read it and why it's going to provide them with a ton of value. You also want to be able to elevate your brand, especially for creative agencies, right? You want to make sure that the content that you're putting out there is good and is top quality. You want them to be able to understand the type of things that they can actually expect when working with you And so if the content that you're putting out there isn't of a good caliber, and I'm not talking about, the best possible, but you want to have their experience being quite good. So you want it to be of high quality images that are going to be able to have, a good cover photo for each post and for each piece of content, allowing for it to ultimately be memorable, right? You want to be remembered. That is the point of this newsletter, is that you want to stay top of mind. And then you want to make sure that the content is valuable. So to stand out, you want to make sure that you're changing minds, you are giving them a unique perspective, you're providing them with valuable content that potentially they could even be actioning today, allowing for them to be able to have some meaningful impact to their business in the immediate, and understanding that if they were to actually work with you, that they're going to be able to have even more of an impact. So to give you a little bit of an example of what it is that we're doing, on Monday we are posting about the training that we're doing every week in this group. And then on Tuesday we are republishing an older blog post, or we're republishing a long form email that we sent out weeks or months ago and utilizing that as on a blog post. On Wednesdays, we are publishing a case study. On Thursdays, we are sharing this live stream or a YouTube video. And on Friday, we share the weekly podcast episode that we have go live. And at this point, we have a little bit over 1,200 agency owners in the group, and they're getting content from us 5 days a week directly via LinkedIn. And so, what you really want to do is you want to create content that allows for them to really be able to have a content calendar that is going to be able to allow for them to have regularity and understand what it is they're going to get. The thing that I know that for me, when I first started creating content, was, what do I create? Where do I even pull from? And I kind of felt like this empty well at first. And now it's been a couple of year journey, and I continue to put out content every week, multiple different forms of content that talk about different things. And the thing that I recognize is that I was actually producing content every day, and so are you. And you don't really realize that you are. You have a conversation with a client, that's content that you can utilize. You send an email, that's content that you can utilize. And that's something that your team or yourself can actually take and actually utilize what you were talking about and create a piece of content around it. So the way that we do it is that all of our calls are recorded, and then my team actually utilizes, obviously not with the client names, but taking that information and utilizing the content that the questions that they were asking, the solves that we gave them, the things that we are talking with clients with every single day that are going to be extremely impactful to the wider audience, that we use that as the basis for our content. So that is how we go about doing it, and ultimately speaking, you can do the same. The thing that I want you to think about when it comes to content is that you want to think about your ideal client. And every single day they have questions that come up. And as I was mentioning, this is coming up in the context of your existing clients as well. And so what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to surround them that every single time they're looking for question one, that you're actually there. When they're looking for this question, you're there too. And whatever medium it is that they're looking for, be it a podcast, be it YouTube, be it a blog post, that it's something that you are there. I don't want you to think about, and I don't want to overwhelm you in saying that you need to go and produce a YouTube channel, a podcast and everything today, because realistically speaking, that's not feasible. But I want you to be thinking about how can you actually be surrounding your audience and ideal clients, and be providing them with valuable content. I know that so many people are afraid of giving their best stuff away, and quite frankly, you just need to stop doing that, because if you're that guarded about it, you are preventing yourself from actually growing. Realistically speaking, that's what you're doing, is you're not really protecting yourself, because more often than not, it's not a 100% unique idea, and all you're doing is guarding it so much that you're not able to even let anyone know that you have this knowledge, and thus then how are you going to be able to help anyone? And ultimately speaking, the way that I look at it is that for someone that wasn't going to engage with me anyways and wasn't going to work with me, if I'm able to provide them with value in a piece of content and they never paid me, then that's fine. And at least I was able to provide some value with what it is that I put out there. And then for those that want to engage, they're better informed about what it is that we do, how we help, and my frame of mind and our frame of mind around growing agencies, and thus lets them really have a clear understanding of how we help and can be a better client long term, and ultimately are better educated, more warm, and more eager to actually work with us. So I know it's easier said than done, but ultimately you just need to stop being afraid of sharing your best stuff. We do, and you should be too. You want to make sure that you're publishing regularly. We post 5 days a week. You don't have to do it nearly that much, but let's say once a week or once every 2 weeks is really where you should be. I know that lots of agencies get quite bogged down in the amount of work that you have with client work, but if you are going to go down the path of doing a piece of content creation and a content channel, you need to stay up with it regularly. And I know that this is very clickbaity type thing, which I'm not the biggest fan, but you do need to recognize that headlines and copy are ultimately really important, and that you need to make sure that the headlines that you're utilizing are going to actually get clicks, and that it's a lot of times they're phrased in questions. They're very problem challenge oriented, and really trying to utilize keywords and think about it in the form of how someone's actually going to be looking for something and if they're actually having this problem. And so really make sure that they are understanding that if they click on this, they're going to get XYZ problem solved. And if they don't understand that, then ultimately speaking, they're likely not going to click and not going to get their problem fixed. And that content, for better or worse, was a bit of a waste of time. So making sure that you are putting it in a place and describing it in such a way that is going to allow people to understand what value they're going to get out of it. And always make sure to have a call to action. Shouldn't have to push this too forward. I know that all of you guys know that you should be doing this, but ultimately speaking, you should be asking a CTA, download something else, to reach out to you, comment, share, whatever it is that you're looking for, the action that you're wanting them to take, making sure that there is some aspect of a CTA in the newsletter. Our CTA changes depending on the type of content, recognizing that each type of content is for a different place in the funnel of their buyer's journey, right? Or the marketing funnel or their buyer's journey. And making sure that we're considering that with the content that we're putting out, and thus the CTA is related to that. And we're not always pushing to a call, and neither should you. If you need any help setting up any of these systems or figuring out how to get more clients and generate more leads, I'd love to chat with you. Please do comment me below or just shoot us a message, and happy to jump on a quick 15-minute chat, give you 3 things that you can be doing in the next 90 days to level up your agency. All right, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your week, and looking forward to seeing more LinkedIn newsletters in the industry. All right.